Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I made that pizza crust that I made in my last video. If you didn't see that pizza that I made, I will link it in the description below. But I'm going to make a pizza with different toppings today, but the crust is the same and the crust came out awesome, so I'm just going to show you how to whip that up really fast. So in a large clean mixing bowl, this is, by the way, this is for 1 or 2 people depending on how hungry you are. So you can always double it up if you're feeding more people. But I'm going to add to the mixing bowl 1 cup of cassava flour and a pinch of sea salt, and then 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I always find with gluten-free baking, even if the recipe doesn't call for it, if you add baking soda and baking powder, it always comes out a lot better. And then I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to add more, you can. And this is totally optional. This is just something that I think is going to be really good. I'm going to add in some dried chopped onion pieces, maybe a little bit more. Then I'm just going to incorporate that together. And then I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You can also use avocado oil, it's up to you. And then 1/4 cup of full fat coconut milk. You need to get for AIP compliance, you need to get the simple one with no guar gum. This is 1/2 cup, so I don't know where my 1/4 cup measure is, so I'm just gonna guesstimate that as well. And then you need some hot water. So I never add as much as the recipe calls for. I just start to add it slowly and mix it up and add more as I need it. And I think it's just easier to go in with your hands because you're gonna need to knead it with your hands anyway. And if you've ever made pizza crust before, then you will know the approximate consistency that you need it to be. Like, basically like Play-Doh. It's already coming together nicely. You just want to knead it. Once it's mixed up pretty good, just get all those little pieces, make it into a nice little ball. And then we're just gonna press it out onto our baking sheet, which, by the way, if I didn't tell you, the first step is actually to preheat your oven to 375. I may have missed that, but I will write the written instructions below in the description. So I just have a baking sheet with some parchment paper. You can also use aluminum foil, both work. And you're just gonna press this out with your hands. And you can press it out as thin or as thick as you like. I like about 1/4 inch. That's a good thickness for me. But definitely take some time to make sure that it's even. Get some of the cracks out of the end. I guess you could use a rolling pin. I actually don't have a rolling pin, and this worked just fine for me, so good. What we're gonna do is fork and put some holes throughout it so it doesn't explode. And then we're gonna cook this until it's almost completely finished. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in at 375 for about 12 minutes, and I'm gonna check on it. And I mean, everybody's oven is different, so you just wanna keep an eye on it and get it to the point where it's nearly finished. And then we'll be back with the toppings. While we're waiting for the pizza crust to cook, we might as well make a drizzle that I'm going to show you what to do with later. This is going to go on top of our finished pizza. So since we're making like a kind of barbecue chicken, I'm using jackfruit, but barbecue chicken pizza, I'm going to go with like a cilantro lime type of drizzle. So I have some chopped cilantro here, and then to the bowl I'm going to add some coconut yogurt. I love this coconut yogurt. It's so nice. Gonna add a couple little spoonfuls, and then the juice from 1 lime, and a little pinch of sea salt, maybe a bigger pinch of sea salt, and then a tiny bit of nutritional yeast. You can add as much as you want. It doesn't really matter. And then just stir this up really well. And just set this aside, and like I said, I'm going to show you what to do with this later on when our pizza is finished. Here is our crust fresh out of the oven. I wound up baking it for 20 minutes, and it's almost done. It's pretty golden brown. I can still feel it's a little bit doughy in the middle, just a tiny bit. So what I'm gonna do is, while we're topping the pizza, I started preheating the oven on the broiler setting, because once we put our toppings on, we're only gonna cook it for about 5 more minutes. So the sauce that I'm gonna use today is a AIP compliant barbecue sauce that I actually made. Oh, it was frozen, so I need to stir it back up. But I made it with a base of squash, acorn squash, and then I added a bunch of smoked sea salt and molasses and a bunch of other seasonings, and it tastes really good. I didn't think that you could make a barbecue sauce without tomatoes, but you definitely can. This was a lot smoother when I first made it because I blitzed it in the Vitamix, but I guess when you freeze it, it kind of like separates or whatever, but it's still good. Yeah, I know. I'm making a video. All right, so that looks pretty good. And for my toppings, I am going to do some spinach first, because I like to put some greens whenever I can. I know that doesn't usually go on like a barbecue chicken pizza, but spinach doesn't have much flavor anyway, so I think it's gonna be fine. All right, and then I'm going to do, I made some jackfruit in some sort of like chicken seasoning. You can buy them pre-made at most health food stores. I know even Whole Foods has it. I know what goes in it, so I just made my own. So I'm just gonna put this on. Oh, it's a little hot still because I just finished cooking it. I'm just gonna put this on top. it's mostly just onion, garlic, some mushroom extract seasoning, water or vegetable stock. Normally I like to use vegetable stock, but I'm out of it right now. I need to make some more. And salt, some turmeric, and that's pretty much it. And then I want to add some pineapple. You don't have to if you're one of those people that is like offended by pineapple on pizza, but that's what I want to put on mine. So this is my pizza. And then the last thing before we put it in the oven is I want to put some red onions on it. And since we got the oven on the broil setting, these should get nice and charred up. All right, and so like I said, this is going to go back in the oven for about 5 minutes. I'll check on it in 5 minutes. Who knows, maybe I'll want to cook it a little bit longer. All right, this is our finished product. So I wound up broiling it for about 8 minutes total, but you'll just have to check on it frequently in your oven. So now we're gonna take our cilantro lime. I put it in a piping bag just because I wanna take some cute pictures for Instagram, but you can definitely just spoon it onto the top. And I'm just going to, ooh, whoops. So much for making it pretty for Instagram. And that's it. That is your vegan AIP compliant barbecue jackfruit or chicken pizza. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below. And please like and comment on this video. I really appreciate it. And also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.